you're getting paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 less because you didn't know what to ask for. Hi, I'm Dom, the BCBA mom, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are negotiating our salaries. This is a place where we talk about all things ABA and how to build your dream career as a BCBA. Today's video is really attached to that mission because we are talking about something that is so uncomfortable for many of us, and that is negotiating our salaries. I've heard so many stories of people just thinking that they don't want to be greedy, or they want to be grateful for what was offered to them, or they don't want the offer to be taken off the table altogether, so they don't negotiate their salary. And that's almost the biggest mistake that you can make in this field, because there is always more money left on the table. And I know in this field, it's not all about the money. It's about the service we provide to the individuals, but we didn't go to school for all of those years to get shortchanged. Time for us to identify our value and get our worth. I'm gonna give you 6 strategies that you can use in order to negotiate the rate that you deserve. But before we go any further, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is not a negotiation. That's what I need you to do. Also, I need you to share this video with a friend. Like, we can't keep this information to ourselves. And like this video if you enjoy the content. All right, let's get right into it. So the first tip is a pretty obvious one, and that just means don't go backwards, okay? So if you are in the same field, if you're going from a BCBA job to another BCBA job, it would almost be obscene for you to go backward in your rate or what you were paid, right? But sometimes we do this because we are in vulnerable positions, okay? So here's a story time. There was a time in my career, one time, where I was fired from my job. I know, right? And because I was fired, that actually fueled me to find multiple streams of income, which is why I created that video, how to make multiple streams of income as a BCBA, or why I started pursuing different ways to not put all my eggs in one basket, because I never wanted to feel that way again. So I was in a really low place in my life. I had been fired. I'd never been fired before, and I felt like I just needed to find a job. So I had an interview. I went through the whole interviewing process at a very popular ABA clinic nationwide, and they were offering me almost $10,000 less per year than I was used to making. But there was no room for negotiation. Like, I couldn't negotiate some work from home days. I couldn't negotiate the time of day that they wanted me to be in the office. It was very strict. They were pretty much giving me the basic package that they give everyone, and pretty much said, I wish you would try to negotiate it. Well, their wish came true, because I absolutely said, well, actually, I will need this amount of money. I would like to have these mornings off so that I can take my kids to school or whatever that I needed to do, and then come in for evenings on that day. And because of that, I did not get the job. There could have been other candidates who were, fresh out and was like, I'm going to take everything that you give me, or was intimidated by their name or about how popular they were, so they just took it on. But for me, I knew that I couldn't go backwards. I knew that at my previous job, I had flexibility. At my previous job, I was making a lot more. So just because I was in a place of desperation or in a place where I needed immediate gratification, I could have taken that job, but that would have not benefited me in the future. So don't go backwards. Still try to negotiate. Yes, that may mean you may not get the job, but guess what? If a job doesn't see me for my worth, I probably don't want to be there anyway. Okay? Because that's how you get disgruntled employees, when the reinforcement is not matching the response effort in order to get the job done. Know your worth, and also realize even when you're in your lowest place, your value does not depreciate. So even though I was a non-working BCBA at the time, I was still a BCBA. My credentials were still in good standing. I still had all the knowledge. I still had all the experience. I just didn't have a job. So sometimes you have to separate your work from your worth. Some of us feel like because we are not working, our worth has depreciated in value in some way, and that is not true, especially in this field. Which brings me to step 2, do your homework. So you really shouldn't be going into any job interview or even applying for a job without knowing on average what is the starting rate, right? It's like we have so many tools out there now where you can find this information. You can go on Glassdoor where previous employees may have posted their salary. You can go on Indeed. You can go to LinkedIn. My husband has messaged people at, potential jobs before, and he may see like a connection that they have in common, like they're in the same fraternity or we know the same people, and he'll message them and say, hey, I'm curious or I'm interested in applying for this position. Can you give me a range of what that position would make? Or can you give me any advice on what I should ask for during my interview? Most people are responsive if you slide in their DM and you're like, letting them know what your intentions are. And I know talking about our salaries or our rate in the workplace is FUPA and it's frowned upon. But some of us are realizing once we start having these conversations, that's how we can decrease the pay gap to where just because you don't know any better, you're getting paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 less because you didn't know what to ask for. So do your homework. Know what to ask for. Know what other BCBAs in that similar role with that similar background is getting from that company. And I would start there. Another tip that I've noticed during my years as a BCBA, working in many different companies and negotiating different contracts, is if you are in a metropolitan area, if you are in a bigger city, you actually may not get as much as if you were willing to drive out to more of a rural area. And that's because you are one of few BCBAs who are willing to travel, or one of few BCBAs who actually live in that area that have your skill set. So there have been many of times where I've gotten emails, Indeed messages, text messages asking me, are you willing to travel to Oklahoma to be a BCBA? Are you willing to travel to Hawaii to be a BCBA? Dubai, Burlington, North Carolina, Oswego, Illinois, places that don't have a lot of BCBAs readily available. So if you are looking to negotiate a higher salary, that may happen if you are living in some of those rural areas where there are not a lot of BCBAs. So same with a highly populated area. So I live in a city where there's like ABA clinics all over the place. My home is literally 15 minutes from the Chicago School of Professional Psychology. So we got BCBAs everywhere, right? I may not be as in demand in this city or in this suburb because I am one of 75, versus if I were to go all the way out to Springfield or Carbondale or further out from the city, I would probably get more money because the company is trying to expand into those rural areas, and the clients are out there, the individuals are out there, they need services, but they have no one to service them. So this is a way for the company to make more money, but it also should be a way for you to make more money because you are willing to travel that far and no one else will. Another tip when negotiating is understanding reimbursement rates. Okay, so here's the tea. Not a lot of people know the amount that's being billed out for their service, right? I remember one time I happened to look at an invoice for a personal bill to a therapist, and I was like, oh, that's how much I'm paying? Because of course I'm only paying the copay. So you realize how much you're really paying to this individual. And they actually don't share those rates publicly because it's not public information. But if you happen to find out what your credential is currently being reimbursed at, is a great number to start with negotiations. So for example, if you realize that the company is getting reimbursed between $120 and $150 per hour, but they're only giving you $40 an hour or $50 an hour, then that means that is that much more negotiation room on the table, that you can ask for 65. You can ask for $67 an hour. You can ask for $80 an hour. So got to know that you can't go too high to where the business cannot profit, right? So the business is what's providing you all of your equipment for billing. They are providing you your caseload. They are providing you with maybe insurance and benefits. So you can't exceed the amount that they're making, but you can negotiate closer to that amount, so more of that money is going into your pocket and less into making the company rich. Now, this is not for all companies. There are some small companies that are barely making payroll, and they are in their maybe startup phases, and they do just have a cap, like, hey, I'm sorry, I cannot give you this amount per hour. However, I know your work, I value your worth, so like you have flexibility over your schedule. We provide bonuses based on performance. We provide credits for CEUs or whatever that is. So negotiation doesn't always have to be money, but if they are not willing to negotiate at all, anything, that may not be the place for you. Which brings me to my next tip: negotiate beyond your salary, okay? So I know I have a lot of videos about how much money a BCBA can make, and that's great and all, but there is more to us than just making money, right? We can negotiate other things that will advance us in our careers. For example, we can negotiate upward mobility or opportunities for promotions. You can negotiate a role as the training director. You can negotiate to work from home days a week or a hybrid schedule. Opportunities to travel to some of your favorite conferences and the company pays for it. You can negotiate referral bonuses. Like, there are so many ABA companies out here that are really looking for good BCBAs. So if you have curated this friend group of great clinicians, they should pay you for referring good people to them. Or you may want to negotiate, am I going to be starting with that caseload immediately? So I've heard so many stories, just because I'm in social media and a lot of people direct message me. I hear so many stories, and it really saddened me when I heard this story about a BCBA who was literally not making any money because they hired her, but they had no caseload for her. So that may be something that you want to negotiate up front. Like, how quickly can I start working with these clients? Or if they're promising you a very hefty caseload, you may want to negotiate, okay, I would like to take these clients in strides. Let's take on 5 at a time so that I can adequately get to know them, their families, get all their paperwork done, get all their assessments done, and then move to the next wave so that I'm not bombarded with this huge caseload, expectations, deadlines, session notes, all at the same time. All of these are opportunities to negotiate what best fits your need, right? So I learned in my career, very early in my career, I love mornings to myself. Whether that's the ability to take my kids to school or to sit and enjoy a cup of coffee, enjoy devotion, go work out, go take a walk. Whatever I wanted to do in the morning, I wanted that to be for myself. So I negotiate a start time after 10 a.m. Now, there may be some rare occurrences where, we have to meet with the psychiatrist, and that's the appointment that's already scheduled. Or we have to meet with the IEP team, and that's already scheduled. But for the most part, I negotiate flexibility. Negotiate beyond your salary. Your salary is important, but negotiate your peace. I'm telling you, you're going to rewind this video back. few years from now and you're going to say, Dom was right. I need to negotiate my piece. So we talked about what our companies can do for us. Now I want to talk about what makes you more attractive to a company where you have more leverage to negotiate. For example, are you more independent in being a BCBA, or do you need more oversight? If you're not fluent in writing treatment plans or conducting assessments, or you tense up whenever it's time to do a parent training, although it's a teachable moment, it's not making them more money. So if you come in and you have the ability to delegate, to lead a team, to take initiative, to know when to change the behavior programs, to know when to call a meeting with the guardians, always meeting your hours when it comes to parent trainings, or always having your session notes in on time, knowing how to make systems better, coming in with ideas and saying, hey, we should probably use AI in this department so that we can kind of catch those human-made errors. Coming in with a grandiose personality that you bring to their training team. Those are all things that make you more attractive and gives you more leveraging power when it comes to negotiation. Now, I'm not saying that you yourself are not enough. I'm not saying that your credentials are not enough, right? But just because you pass the BCBA exam doesn't make you a good BCBA. And I'm just going to say that. It just makes you a BCBA. And that is great in itself. But if you want to start negotiating six figures, opportunities to travel, and they pay for your expenses, you need to show them that you are a great investment. You are going to help develop their team. You're going to help develop their systems, because that's just naturally who you are. And that is the skill set that you have. If you are an approved supervisor, if you are an ACE provider, that person is going to add value to my company. So I'm going to invest in them by giving them what they want in the negotiation, because I don't want to lose this opportunity to work with them. So you are the prize, babe. Let them know that you are the prize. But as you are going along this ABA journey, treat it like you are adding jewels and gems and tools to your toolbox. So when you are ready to negotiate, that imposter syndrome can't kick in. You won't be hesitant. You won't feel like you're being greedy or ungrateful or asking for too much, because you are asking for exactly what you are worth. And then you may want to add a little tax onto that because of inflation. Coming in as a young professional and knowing that you have the ability to negotiate, or that you even value yourself enough to negotiate, says a lot to a CEO. It may make them intimidated by you and you may not get the job, but guess what? Probably won the job for you anyway. But to those CEOs who are not intimidated by someone who knows their worth and their value and see that as an asset to bring them on, that's going to make them respect you more. And it's going to be easy for you to negotiate in the future. Let's talk about how this can mutually benefit both of us. Because at the end of the day and at the end of our lives, the only people that we want to please the most is, for me, my Heavenly Father, and I want to please myself. I want me to be proud of me and doing the things now that future you would be so proud of. Future you is going to be so proud that you negotiated that higher salary. Future you is going to be so proud that you negotiated flexible work hours so that you can spend more time with your kids. Future you is going to be so happy that you negotiated 401k when it's time to retire, or tuition reimbursement so you can go back and get that PhD. Future you who doesn't have any student loans because you negotiated tuition reimbursement to go get a PhD, future you is going to be so thankful. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you've ever negotiated in your ABA job, whether that negotiated an RBT position, negotiated a BCBA salary, or negotiated a whole different project. Just let me know in the comments. Let me know if you're gearing up to negotiate something big. And let me know what tips you used in order for those terms to work. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you get notifications on when I upload new content because it keeps getting better. I'll see you on the next one.